Now, what this agenda is not about, it's not about forcing a pace of change, it's not about mergers, it's not about shifting resources from one part of the country to another, it's not about removing some of the essential interaction that exists between individuals at local level and communities. What it is about making sure that I can entrench and cement the role of the third sector in public policy and public sector delivery within Scotland. Because that, to me, is the prize that exists in all of this. That's the bit we've got to ensure we deliver as a consequence of all of the changes to the structure of government that we have in Scotland. Because unless we do that, unless we secure that advance, then there will always be the excuse that it is more difficult to interact and to relate to the third sector because there are a proliferation of voices and organisations that can emerge and can make a contribution. Now, in a sense, in your own deliberations, you've recognised to an extent that whole approach by the formulation of Voluntary Action Scotland, which is, as I understand it, an initiative to express a stronger voice on behalf of networks around the country. And that clarity of voice is essential to make sure that across the different public sector interactions in Scotland, we have the ability to ensure that the third sector is right at the heart of those deliberations. So that's the motivation behind it, and my officials are working to encourage that process, and I'm very happy to discuss with any different organisations around the country some of the challenges that may be experienced in making progress on that agenda, but I felt it was important to explain to you face to face why the government is moving in this direction and why we see this as an important contribution to anchoring the role of the third sector within public policy in Scotland. Now, why does it matter that the role of the third sector is anchored in public policy in Scotland? Well, it matters for many, many hundreds of thousands of people in our country who will be facing ever greater challenges as a consequence of the society we live in today and the society we're going to be living in the future. It wouldn't be a gig with John Swinney without some reference to the public finances of Scotland. They keep me awake at night currently, as you can imagine. We're going to go into a very difficult financial climate in public expenditure terms in the years to come. We've had the first taste of it in a difficult budget that I've had to set for 2010-11, and money will get very tight in the years beyond that. So that's why it's vital that we have, right at the heart of the public policy agenda, a clearly anchored role for the third sector, because I don't want to see, in a tight financial climate, the third sector with anything other than a big ability to punch its weight within public service delivery in Scotland. Why do I think that? I think that because I know from my own experience, from the many visits I've made around the country, the many privileged opportunities I've had to meet with many of you around the country, that people depend on what you do. And I want to make sure that is secured for the years to come. And in the challenges that we face on public spending are mirrored by the challenges we face on the economy and many of the challenges that you as organisations face into the bargain. So last week I announced the establishment of the £1.7 million Resilience Fund, which is there to assist third sector organisations who are facing difficulties with the current economic climate, people who may have seen reserves eroded, investments not delivered. I had one organisation approach me the other week there who had made an investment to secure assets in a bank that is now defaulting on that investment and causing great difficulties for that organisation. So we've put in place that practical help to try to assist organisations, and information is now available on how to apply for that support. But there are, of course, other interventions that we want to take forward to mirror the economic climate that we're in. I can't think of a finer climate and opportunity and atmosphere for the whole concept of social enterprise to thrive in our country. If there isn't an appetite, after all we've gone through with the banking sector in Scotland, to change some of our business models and recognise that shared enterprise and shared endeavour for the common good in our community is an absolutely precious opportunity. And many of the social enterprises, again, I've had the privilege to visit around the country, are just shining examples of motivated and inspired contributions which are changing the way that people interact with each other in our communities, and crucially for me, provide opportunities for people who may find it more difficult than others to enter the labour market to find a happy and a contented place and a role for those individuals within our society. And some of those opportunities will exist in all of our communities. What they need is the support and the pump priming that government is able to put in place. They also need support from our enterprise agencies to recognise that social enterprise is a legitimate form of business that should be advised about and supported. And they need support from the banks that social enterprises emerge and count as strong business models and propositions within our country. So this is a precious opportunity, fraught with difficulties, I can see, about the difficult public spending climate in which we operate, the difficult economic environment, but with an opportunity to recast many of the business models that have existed in our society and to ensure that we have much more community interest, much more community empowerment, much more solidarity around the development of some of the new social enterprises that will be the backbone of our communities in the years to come. Now, all of that is to say and to explain to you just how much emphasis this government attaches to the development of the third sector in Scotland. We inherited from our predecessors an approach which was positive and supportive about the role and the involvement of the third sector in Scotland. We've taken that further and are working to ensure that the third sector has a really entrenched role within the public sector and within public policy in Scotland. And what I'm determined to do, what we'll do in partnership with you, not against you, not to you, but with you, is ensure that we have the structures in place to ensure the public sector listens to the voice of the third sector, reacts and responds to the proposition and the role that the third sector can have within the development of public policy and public service delivery within Scotland, and is able to fulfil its core function, which is to improve the quality of life of some of the most vulnerable individuals in our society, an aspiration that we all share, that we all want to encourage, and which the government depends on the third sector to make a significant contribution to delivering today and in the years to come. Thank you very much.